We're joined by the governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, who's got a particular perspective on some of these issues. Governor, appreciate you making the time for us.
Great to be back.
So it seems, Governor, like they have very quickly circled around Kamala Harris as the likely Democrat nominee, not official yet, but who knows these days what's going to happen. Assuming it is Kamala, I recall she was assigned as Biden's border czar for a period of time. You, as the governor of Texas, had a front row seat to the czar doing her best on the border. How did that go?
So she gets an F minus for a grade as border czar. Remember this. She cackled and laughed about being border czar, acting as though she had no interest in it whatsoever. And then when it was her responsibility, I can remember interviews of her asking her if she's even yet been to the border. And she admitted that she had not. I think maybe during her entire time as border czar, she may have been down maybe close to the border one time. The bottom line is this. She, for one, did not go down there and see personally the crisis that she and Joe Biden created. She did not see exactly what needed to be done to fix the border crisis. And you've seen the numbers, and that is not just the more than 11 million illegal immigrants who have come across the border, but the number of Americans who are losing their lives, who are being sexually assaulted, who are victims of crime because Kamala Harris did not do her job as the border czar and led to the worst border crisis in the history of the United States of America.
Governor, are you as blown away as we are by, I know the 125 since the debate 27th have just been one cavalcade of insanity after another, but when you saw that Biden was now is not done, a letter that he posted on, we still have not seen him, not even a photograph or video of him. All of this is super strange. Do you think if he can't run in 2024 that he still president? In the world making decisions right now, given that there is a great deal at the southern border where you are right now in Texas, so in this is a scary time. Who knows what China might decide to do with Taiwan? Does Biden need to step down in your mind?
I actually posted that on X last night, that if he is incapable of running for president, he is incapable of serving as president. But listen, you made a very insightful point, and that is the United States of America, because of Joe Biden's condition, because of the uncertainty about exactly who is pulling the strings in Washington, D.C., we are at an extremely vulnerable time globally. You've seen the conflagrations that, in Iran, in Ukraine, in China, even in North Korea, and who knows wherever else. And now would be the time for any of our adversaries to be able to make moves that would compromise the future of the United States of America. We've been, going through 3.5 years of a president who's asleep at the wheel. Now he's absent. He's AWOL. And Kamala Harris is not up to speed on being able to address any of those issues. And so I am very concerned about what's going on in the country and our exposure to incoming threats, not to mention the ongoing disaster at the border, where there truly is nobody in the United States that has any commitment to securing the border. Because these issues blend together. You all know that there have been countless, as in hundreds, of terrorists come across the border, and those are the ones who are known. Listen, if you're on the terrorist watch list, you pay extra to the cartels not to be caught. Think about all the TSA agents that we have in the United States of America who are inspecting your shoes and going over your body as you try to get on a plane for the purported purpose of stopping a terrorist. They don't need to go through an airport anymore. They can just walk across the border. And so the United States is extraordinarily exposed to terroristic threats. And we have an administration in Kamala Harris, the borders are, in Joe Biden, who's absent, who are exposing us to more terroristic dangers every single day just through our southern border.
Governor Abbott, we're speaking of Governor Abbott of Texas. Sounds to me like you don't think Kamala Harris is ready to lead, sir. I don't know.
Does anyone think she's ready to lead? I mean, she's done nothing but embarrass even the Biden administration. She's known for her cackle, but nothing else. Nobody can say anything that she's known for. And then think about this. You mentioned that she's the border czar. I can't remember any other task given to her. Here's the point. She had just one job, and that one job that she had, she completely flunked it. And that is her resume. And so it's going to be easy for President Trump to make a contrast with Kamala Harris and explain to Americans why they need to elect Donald Trump. And I think that he will gain extraordinary support, and Americans will flee from the disaster zone of Kamala Harris. And that doesn't even include the disaster of her experience in California, in San Francisco, and the disaster zone she made of that.
I'm just wondering, Governor, do you think that they're going to have to rethink some of their policy on the Democrat side, their decision of trying to flood Texas with money to pull off some kind of an upset win? Because Kamala Harris is the nominee. I can't imagine she's going to play much better in Texas than Biden would have at the top of the ticket.
Well, yeah, my only hope and prayer is that they spend all their money in Texas. But I think they will be smart enough to realize that would be a complete waste of money. And so I fully expect them to spend $0 in the state of Texas. The converse is true, and that is that they will come to the state of Texas to raise money, but they won't be spending any money here. And that's fine. Suck up all the money out of the state of Texas, have them wasted on Kamala Harris, and that will ensure that Ted Cruz will win his Senate race by even a higher percentage point.
Governor, we've heard since January 6th of 2021 that Democrats are the party protecting democracy. They now, in theory, are going to run Kamala Harris, a woman who has never received a single vote from any person in America, to be president of the United States. They're tossing out every single vote that occurred during the course of their primary. Is your mind, in an honest America, would anyone arguing that the Democrats are trying to protect a democracy have to be shouted down by media or voters out there? Is that argument from their quiver of arguments officially done?
It's over. And so they've completely demonstrated that they have denied democracy, with the democracy being defined as allowing the voters to speak and have the voters' actual vote count. So that, as you pointed out, there's been more than 14 million people who voted in the Democrat primary. But before we talk about Kamala in that regard, remember this. All of the smoke-filled room players have not yet spoken, and there still remains the possibility that the presidential nominee for the Democrats will actually not be Kamala. It could be somebody else. Here's the point I want to make, and that is it could very well be possible that the person chosen by the Democrats actually received 0 votes by any Democrat primary voter. That's the exact paradigm of undermining democracy, undermining the voters, and saying, we don't care what the voters say. We're going to pick our hand-picked person. But let's go back to the point you made about Kamala. So the Democrats were perfectly happy with Joe Biden, and the 14 million people who voted for Joe Biden were perfectly happy until they realized, oh, wait a second, looks like he may lose. And so we need to undermine all of the voters and say your vote really doesn't matter here. To heck with democracy. The insiders, we've got to find someone who maybe can win, regardless of who the people voted for in the primary. So this is as I say, the paradigm, the classic example of undermining democracy, undermining the voters, stiff-arming them, and ignoring them. And so this completely takes that issue off of the playing board of arguments by the Democrats.
Governor, fantastic stuff as always. Buck, you got one more?
I appreciate Governor Abbott for coming to join us. Fantastic as always, Governor, and thank you for keeping Texas Texas. We don't live there, but we like knowing it's there just in case.
Governor, I'm giving you a heads up. I'm going to be down for the Georgia-Texas game, which may be the best game in the SEC this season. So I'm planning on seeing you when I'm in town for that one.
Yeah, come on by. We'll have a good time and look for a good Longhorn team this year. Hey, listen, you and I went to Vanderbilt Law School, different times, but same school. Texas plays at Vanderbilt this year, if I recall. First time in a long time they played Vanderbilt.
Well, come up to Nashville. We'll hang out, and we'll go swing by Vanderbilt Law School and see if they'll claim both of us. I think they will, but they might not.
I don't think they will accept me.
Governor Greg Abbott, proud Vanderbilt Law School graduate alongside of me. Thank you, Governor. We'll talk to you again soon. Maybe I'll see you a couple of football games this fall. Look, Prime Minister of Israel visiting the U.S. this week, including addressing a joint session of Congress Wednesday. It'll put the war conflict in Israel front and center again in everybody's minds and in the news cycle. What started 9 months ago on October 7th goes on today. There are missile alerts and sirens airing all over Israel even today. In fact, some of you probably saw what happened in Tel Aviv, where an innocent individual was killed by a drone strike set loose by the Houthis. For more than 40 years, the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews has been on the ground in Israel within hours of the war starting. Every day since, the IFCJ has been feeding the hungry and protecting the vulnerable. The attacks continue in Israel, but there are resilient survivors who bravely share their stories. One of them is a woman by the name of Noah. On October 7th, Noah and her friends were escaping a music festival that was being attacked. As they were driving, rockets were falling, terrorists were shooting. Noah's friend was shot in the leg, but still made it to cover in a large bush and hid inside of it for 8 hours. Support Israel through the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews. To hear more stories like this one and show your support for Israel, visit supportifcj.org.